My siblings humiliated me at Mom's funeral, calling me the disappointment, until the lawyer read out that I got the entire $5 million estate. Friends, your love keeps this channel alive. Please hit subscribe and don't forget to say hi in the comments with your city or country. We read them all. I stood in the back corner of Mercy Baptist Church, watching my mother's mahogany casket gleam under the stained glass light. The scent of white lilies made my stomach turn. I'd driven 12 hours straight from Atlanta to Detroit, arriving just as the service began. My black dress was wrinkled, my eyes swollen from crying in rest-stop bathrooms. Look who finally showed up. My sister Rochelle's voice cut through the organ music. She stood near the front pew in a designer black suit, her lips curled in disgust. The disappointment graces us with her presence. My brother Derek laughed, loud enough for the first 3 rows to hear. Surprised you could afford the gas, Kenya. Or did you hitchhike? Heat flooded my cheeks. Mourners turned to stare. I wanted to scream that I'd been with Mama 2 weeks ago, holding her hand while they were too busy to visit. That I'd read to her every night via video call. That her last words to me were, "I'm so proud of you, baby girl." At least I came, I whispered, but my voice cracked. Barely, my youngest sister Tanya added, flipping her braids. Looking like you slept in your car. Oh wait, you probably did. Reverend Morris cleared his throat uncomfortably. Perhaps we should focus on celebrating Sister Patricia's life. But Rochelle wasn't done. She stepped closer, her perfume overwhelming. Mama spent her whole life disappointed in you, Kenya. We all know it. The daughter who couldn't even finish nursing school. The one who moved away and forgot her family. The casket seemed to swim before my eyes. I gripped the pew until my knuckles went white. The call came at 3 in the morning. I was knee-deep in inventory at the warehouse where I worked 3rd shift, counting boxes of medical supplies. My phone buzzed against my hip, Rochelle's name flashing on the screen. "She's gone," Rochelle said flatly when I answered. No greeting, no warmth. "Mama passed an hour ago. Funeral's Saturday at 2. My clipboard clattered to the concrete floor. "What?" "I just talked to her yesterday. She said she was feeling better." Well, she wasn't. Heart attack in her sleep. "Peaceful," they said. Rochelle's voice was cold, businesslike. "I already made arrangements. Don't worry about helping with anything. We know you're broke." The line went dead before I could respond. I stood there shaking, surrounded by boxes and fluorescent lights, my mother's laughter echoing in my memory. Just yesterday she'd asked about my online classes. I was finishing my nursing degree, finally, at 32. Mama had been so excited. I called my supervisor, voice breaking. "Family emergency. I need to go to Detroit." "Take all the time you need," Mr. Wells said gently. He'd met my mama once when she visited. She'd charmed him with her peach cobbler. I drove through the night, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight they cramped. I thought about the last time I'd seen Mama in person, her 60th birthday party 2 months ago. My siblings had thrown this elaborate celebration at Derek's mansion in Bloomfield Hills. Crystal chandeliers, catered soul food, a jazz band. I'd brought homemade sweet potato pie and a photo album I'd made. "How thoughtful," Rochelle had said at the birthday party, barely glancing at my gift. She'd arrived with a pair of diamond earrings that probably cost more than my monthly rent. "Mama, look, Kenya made you a scrapbook. Like we're in elementary school." Derek had sprawled on the leather sofa in his 3-piece suit, real estate developer money oozing from every pore. "Some of us give real gifts, Kenya. But hey, it's the thought that counts, right?" He'd winked at his wife, Simone, who'd snickered into her champagne. Tanya, the baby at 28, had been the worst. She'd worked as a pharmaceutical sales rep, always bragging about her 6-figure income. I got Mama that trip to Paris she always wanted. What did you get her, Kenya? Construction paper memories. But Mama had clutched that album to her chest. Her eyes had filled with tears as she'd flipped through pages of us as kids. Fishing trips, church picnics, her teaching me to braid hair on our front porch. This is beautiful, baby. You remembered everything. Of course I did, I'd whispered, kneeling beside her chair. You're my whole heart, Mama. Later I'd found the album in the trash. Rochelle had thrown it away, claiming it was taking up space. I'd fished it out and taken it back to Atlanta with me. It sat on my nightstand now, Mama's favorite photo on the cover. All four of us kids hugging her, age 5 through 15, gap-toothed and grinning. Before money changed everything. Before my siblings became strangers who shared my blood. Now driving north on I-75, that memory burned. The album was in my passenger seat. I'd bring it to the funeral. Derek had always been the golden child. Star quarterback in high school, full scholarship to Michigan State, then business school. He'd made his first million by 30, flipping houses during the market boom. Mama had beamed with pride at every success. My son, the businessman, she'd say, showing his picture to everyone at church. Rochelle followed suit. Howard University, law degree, married a surgeon named Kenneth. They lived in a mini mansion with a pool. She'd given Mama 2 grandchildren, perfect little boys who attended private school. Tanya had been the surprise baby, born when Mama was 42. She'd grown up spoiled, everything handed to her. Cheerleading, sorority life, European vacations. She'd never known struggle. Then there was me. The oldest. The one who'd gotten pregnant at 19 by a man who'd disappeared faster than smoke. I dropped out of nursing school 8 months from graduating, to work double shifts at Big Boy to support my daughter Lyric. Mama had helped, God bless her. She'd watched Lyric while I worked, never once making me feel like a failure. You're doing your best, baby, she'd say, braiding my daughter's hair. That's all anyone can do. But my siblings had seen only weakness. Derek had called me charity case Kenya at family dinners. Rochelle had lectured me about poor life choices every chance she got. Tanya had simply ignored me like poverty was contagious. When Lyric was 8, I'd started taking online classes again. 1 course at a time, paid for with overtime and sacrifice. Mama had been my biggest cheerleader. My siblings had mocked me mercilessly. The funeral home viewing was worse than the service. My siblings held court like royalty, accepting condolences and casseroles. I stood near Mama's casket, staring at her peaceful face, remembering how she'd looked 2 weeks ago, frail but smiling, her hand warm in mine during my visit. You actually came to see her before she died? A voice said behind me. I turned to find Mrs. Henderson, Mama's best friend from church. Her kind eyes were red from crying. Patricia talked about that visit constantly. Said you sat with her for 3 days, cooked all her favorite meals. I took vacation time, I said softly. I knew she was getting weaker. Your siblings didn't visit once in the last month, Mrs. Henderson said, loud enough that Rochelle glanced over sharply. Too busy, they said. But Patricia understood. She knew who really cared. Rochelle appeared beside us, all fake smiles and expensive perfume. Mrs. Henderson, how lovely to see you. We're so grateful for all the support. She turned to me, her smile hardening. Kenya, maybe you should go help in the kitchen. You know, make yourself useful for once. I'm fine here, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. With Mama. Mama's dead, Rochelle hissed. She can't see you now. Showing up at the last minute doesn't erase years of absence. I visited every month, I shot back. I called every single day. Where were you? Derek materialized, his imposing frame blocking my view of the casket. Don't start drama at our mother's funeral, Kenya. You've embarrassed this family enough. Embarrassed? My voice rose. I've worked 3 jobs to survive. I've put myself through school while raising a daughter alone. What's embarrassing about that? The fact that you had to, Tanya said sweetly, appearing with a plate of cookies. Some of us made better choices. That night we gathered at Mama's house in Palmer Park. The small brick bungalow where we'd grown up felt crowded with my siblings' presence and judgment. Rochelle had already started sorting through Mama's things, making piles of what to keep, donate, or trash. We need to talk about the estate, Derek said, settling into Mama's favorite recliner, the one I'd reupholstered for her last Christmas while my siblings sent gift cards. The house, her accounts, her jewelry. We should divide everything equally. Equally? Rochelle laughed. Kenya can barely afford her own rent. What's she going to do with 1/4 of a house she can't maintain? Maybe we should buy her out, Tanya suggested. Give her some cash and handle the real estate ourselves. It's worth about $400,000 now, right, Derek? He nodded. $450 probably. We could give Kenya $100,000, split the rest 3 ways. That's fair. They talked about me like I wasn't sitting right there on the couch, Mama's Afghan wrapped around my shoulders. The same Afghan she'd crocheted when I was in high school, the one she'd sent home with me every visit because Atlanta gets cold too, baby. What if Mama's will says something different? I asked quietly. All 3 of them turned to stare at me like I'd spoken in tongues. Mama didn't have a will, Rochelle said slowly, like explaining to a child. We checked. Everything goes through probate, divided equally among the 4 of us. Are you sure? She mentioned updating her will 6 months ago. Derek laughed, actually laughed. Kenya, Mama barely had $5,000 in her checking account. What will? This isn't succession. There's just the house and her old car. But something in their eyes flickered just for a second. Uncertainty. Fear. The call came 3 days after the funeral. I was back in Atlanta trying to return to normal life while grief sat on my chest like a stone. Lyric had started high school, all long legs and attitude. She'd cried for hours when I told her Grandma Pat was gone. Miss Jenkins? This is Terrence Michaels from Michaels & Associates. I was your mother's attorney. His voice was professional, warm. I need you to come back to Detroit this Saturday for the reading of the will. Patricia left very specific instructions. My heart hammered. My siblings said there wasn't a will. There absolutely is. A very detailed one, actually. Updated 6 months ago. Can you be at my office Saturday at 10 a.m.? The address is downtown Renaissance Center. I'll be there, I promised. I called Rochelle immediately. She answered on the 5th ring, irritated. What, Kenya? Mama's lawyer called. There's a will reading Saturday. Silence. Then, that's impossible. We already talked to a lawyer. There's no will on file. Well, apparently there is. Terrence Michaels. He said Mama updated it 6 months ago. More silence. I could practically hear her thinking, calculating. Fine. We'll all be there. Don't get your hopes up, Kenya. Even if there is a will, it's probably just sentimental items. Her wedding ring for me, Dad's watch for Derek. Don't expect anything valuable. She hung up before I could respond. But I sat there holding my phone, remembering something Mama had said during my last visit. We'd been sitting in her garden, her hand in mine. I've made sure you're taken care of, baby, she'd whispered. Your brothers and sisters don't know what real love looks like. But you do. You've always had the biggest heart. I'd thought she meant emotionally. Now I wondered. Saturday arrived cold and gray. I drove through the night again, arriving at the Renaissance Center at 9:30. The lawyer's office was on the 45th floor, all glass and chrome and Detroit River views. I felt small in my Target blazer and JCPenney heels. My siblings arrived at 9:55, a united front of designer labels and entitlement. Derek wore a Tom Ford suit. Rochelle carried a Birkin bag. Tanya's shoes probably cost more than my car payment. Kenya, Derek said with a nod. No hug, no warmth. Just acknowledgement that I existed. We were shown into a conference room with a massive table. Terrence Michaels was a distinguished black man in his 60s, with silver temples and kind eyes. He shook each of our hands, but his grip lingered on mine. Miss Jenkins, your mother spoke of you often. She was very proud. Rochelle snorted. Michaels raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Let's begin, he said, opening a leather folder. Patricia and Jenkins executed this will on March 15th of this year, 6 months before her death. She was of sound mind and body as attested by myself and 2 witnesses. I'll read the relevant portions now. He cleared his throat and began, I, Patricia and Jenkins, being of sound mind, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. To my son Derek, I leave my father's pocket watch and my gratitude for his business success. To my daughter Rochelle, I leave my mother's pearl necklace and my hope that she finds compassion. To my daughter Tanya, I leave my wedding ring and the prayer that she learns what real struggle means. Tanya gasped. Derek's jaw clenched. Rochelle's face went red. Michaels continued, his voice measured. To my beloved daughter Kenya, Michaels read and his voice softened, I leave the remainder of my estate in its entirety. This includes the house at 2847 Longfellow Avenue, valued at $450,000. My life insurance policy through United Healthcare, valued at $3 million. My investment portfolio with Charles Schwab, currently valued at $1,200,000. My savings account at Comerica Bank, containing $287,000. And my retirement account, containing $412,000. Total estate value, approximately $5,349,000. The room exploded. Derek shot to his feet, his chair clattering backward. What the hell? This is insane. Rochelle shouted. Mama didn't have that kind of money. Tanya burst into tears. This isn't fair. Kenya doesn't deserve. Your mother, Michaels interrupted, his voice sharp with authority, worked 3 jobs for 30 years after your father died. She was a manager at Ford before she retired. She invested wisely. She lived modestly. And she made her choices very clearly. This is fraud, Derek snarled. Kenya manipulated her. Mama had dementia or something. Patricia was evaluated by 2 doctors and a psychiatrist before executing this will, Michaels said calmly. All confirmed her complete mental competency. She knew exactly what she was doing. Why? Rochelle's voice broke. Why would she do this? Michaels looked at her with something like pity. She left letters. For each of you. Kenya, yours is sealed. He handed me a thick envelope. The rest of you, she asked me to read yours aloud. No, Derek said. We don't need to hear. But Michaels was already opening Rochelle's letter. My dear Rochelle, Michaels read and I heard Mama's voice in every word. You became a lawyer to win arguments, not to seek justice. You gave me grandchildren but no time. You forgot that love isn't measured in expensive gifts. It's measured in showing up. Kenya showed up. Every month, every call, every crisis. You called twice a year, Christmas and my birthday. You talked at me, never to me. I pray you learn the difference. Rochelle's face crumpled. Kenneth, her surgeon husband, put an arm around her but she shook him off. Derek's letter was shorter. Derek, my successful son. You made millions but lost your soul somewhere in the process. You called your sister names, mocked her struggles, forgot that I raised you to lift people up, not tear them down. Kenya worked 3 jobs while raising Lyric alone. You worked 1 job and had every advantage. Yet you called her a disappointment. The only disappointment in this room was how you treated your sister. Derek stood frozen, his jaw working. Simone grabbed his hand, but he pulled away, storming toward the window. Tanya's letter destroyed her. My baby girl, given everything and grateful for nothing. You had opportunities your siblings never dreamed of. Yet you used them to become cruel. Kenya sent me $20 when she only had 30. You made 6 figures and sent gift cards. Kenya remembered every story, every favorite thing. You forgot my birthday twice. I hope this teaches you that money without character is worthless. Tanya sobbed openly now, mascara streaming down her face. Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't know. She tried to tell you, I said quietly, finding my voice. Every time you mocked me, every time you made me feel small, she corrected you. You never listened. That night, alone in a hotel room, I opened my letter. Mama's handwriting swam before my eyes, elegant and familiar. My precious Kenya, my heart. By now you know what I've done. Your siblings will hate you for this. Let them. They've hated you for years anyway, for the crime of being real, being flawed, being human. Baby girl, you dropped out of school to raise your daughter. You worked until your hands bled. You visited me every month, driving 12 hours each way, sleeping in your car sometimes because you couldn't afford a hotel. You called every single day. You remembered my favorite flowers, my favorite hymns, the way I like my tea. You saw me. Not my bank account, not what I could do for you, just me. Your brothers and sisters loved me like a resource. You loved me like a daughter should. This money is yours. Not because I'm trying to punish them, though they deserve the lesson. But because you earned it through every sacrifice, every choice to show up when it was hard. Use it to finish nursing school. Buy yourself a real home. Give Lyric opportunities. And baby, don't let them guilt you. They had the same chances to love me. They chose money over connection. You chose different. I've been saving and investing for 40 years, waiting to see who really cared. It was always you. Build something beautiful, Kenya. You deserve every penny. I love you forever, Mama. I sobbed until I couldn't breathe, clutching the letter to my chest. Outside, Detroit sparkled with city lights. Somewhere out there, my siblings were raging, calculating, planning their revenge. But in this moment, I felt only Mama's love, wrapping around me like that Afghan she'd crocheted so long ago. They tried to contest the will, of course. Derek hired 3 lawyers. Rochelle filed challenges. Tanya showed up at my Atlanta apartment begging. Please, Kenya. Share it. We're family. Where was that family energy when you threw my gift in the trash? I asked, standing in my doorway. When you called me a charity case. When you laughed at my struggles. We were stupid, Tanya cried. We're sorry. Please. Sorry isn't enough, I said and closed the door. The legal battles took 6 months. Every challenge failed. Mama's will was ironclad. The psychiatric evaluations proved her competency. The lawyers confirmed no coercion. Michaels had documented everything meticulously. In the end, I got it all. $5.3 million. I quit my warehouse job. Enrolled in nursing school full-time at Emory. Bought a 4-bedroom house with a yard for Lyric. Set up a college fund for her that would cover any school she wanted. I donated $100,000 to Mama's church in her name. Set up a scholarship at her old high school for single mothers pursuing education. Started a fund to help women escaping bad situations. I didn't share a penny with my siblings. Not because I was cruel, but because Mama's final gift was teaching them consequences. Actions matter. Love matters. You can't buy back time you refuse to give. Mrs. Henderson called me one afternoon. Your mama would be so proud, baby. You used that blessing exactly right. I learned from the best, I said, watching Lyric study at our new kitchen table. Mama taught me everything that matters. She surely did. And honey, those siblings of yours are telling everyone you manipulated her. Let them, I said peacefully. The truth doesn't need defending. 2 years later, I graduated from nursing school, top of my class this time. I worked in the ICU at Grady Memorial, the same hospital where Mama had once stayed for pneumonia. I held patients' hands, remembered their stories, showed up the way she taught me. Lyric got accepted to Spelman full ride. She stood in our living room, acceptance letter trembling in her hands. Grandma Pat would be so happy. She knows, baby, I whispered. Wherever she is, she knows. I sold Mama's house but kept some things. The Afghan, the photo album, her favorite hymnal. The new owners were a young family, the mother a single mom working 2 jobs. I sold it to them for half the market value, carried the mortgage myself at 0 interest. Why? The mother asked, crying. You don't even know me. Someone showed me grace once, I said. I'm just passing it on. My siblings never apologized, not really. Derek's real estate business failed during a market crash. Rochelle's husband left her for a younger woman. Tanya got laid off and had to move back home. I heard things through the church grapevine but never reached out. Some bridges burn for a reason. Mama taught me that too. On the anniversary of her death, I visited her grave. Fresh flowers, her favorite hymn playing on my phone. Thank you, Mama, I whispered. For everything. For seeing me. For the gift. But mostly for teaching me that real wealth isn't money. It's knowing who loves you when you have nothing to give them. The wind rustled through the trees, warm and gentle. For just a moment, I swear I smelled her perfume, felt her hand on my shoulder. I see you too, baby girl, the wind seemed to whisper. I always have. And somewhere in my chest, the disappointed daughter they'd mocked at the funeral stood a little taller, walked a little prouder. Because Mama had the last word after all. And it was love.